Ed, what cars are behind you there?
This is the Victoria's Secret Lamborghini Diablo over here.
Sick.
Actually running quite well, and that's Ralph Lauren's former LP640 Roadster. So more functional than they have any business being based on their sordid pasts, but they're doing well.
Remember when you sold everything and bought maybe a Bugatti? Do you still have the Bugatti?
It's over behind the screen at the moment.
So you do still have it. Okay.
I do. I'm loving it. I've put about 15,000 miles on it in the last year and a half, which is
You're not allowed to do that. There are rules in this world.
It's frowned upon for sure. But fortunately, the car has behaved itself quite well. I mean, certainly things have sort of revealed how poorly it was treated under the care of Mr. Birdman and Justin Bieber and Floyd Mayweather and Little Uzi Vert. And other cast of characters. But, like we had the under trade-off this last week, and it was shocking, the stuff this car has seen. But, I mean, I drove it 2,500 miles to Connecticut and back last week and did an event up there, and it was wonderful. So I think it's definitely driving better now. And, fortunately, the whole exotic car market's, gone to the moon like it's 2021 again. And so it's been the appreciation is overcoming my depreciative mileage.
Wow. Nice. That's awesome. Is it disappointing driving a Bugatti like at highway speeds?
It's kind of like driving any exotic car about 20 years ago. That's one of the things about it is like it's a thing to take it places. Like the response of people like rolling down their windows and crashing their cars to let you know how much they appreciate it being there is a pretty constant thing, especially when you're in the middle of nowhere. And so, it's fun just to see how people react, let them sit in it at gas stations and whatever we're doing. So in that regard, it's at any speed, it's a good time. And, more and more like, driving up north, we don't have mobile police cameras down here where they just set them up and they'll, have them every, half a mile up in some of these states. But you can actually go fast down here. But even when you can't, it's still a good time.
Do you like the attention you get in an expensive car, or is it a burden?
A bit of both. Like it's certainly, that car was both a goal to be able to figure out a way to finance my way into getting one and sell a bunch of cars that had kind of appreciated along the way. But also, look, we make videos for a living. And so it needs to sort of satisfy a little bit of a, aspirational capture of the audience attention. And so it's done those things very, very well. And so it has that kind of, it's nice when a plan comes together. But it does start some really, really interesting conversations about, how people perceive these kind of cars and things like that. And, obviously the celebrity past helps. So I don't go out seeking the attention. I would not expect one in red over red with red wheels, probably something a little bit more elegant or subtle, but it's great for thumbnails and it's been a good thing and opened up a lot of doors. One of the things that I'd always wanted to do was the Gumball 3000, which is kind of a diversion of the modern interpretation of Cannonball Run. And I was able to finally do that because it was very eligible, the big red Bugatti. And so we did that drive from Miami. They were going to Mexico City. We stopped in Austin, but it has definitely worked well from a content perspective. And so in that way, I like the attention because it kind of makes it all go round.
Because part of the job. Yeah.
Can you park that? Like, I feel like when you park that, you have to be having a little bit of a panic attack the whole time you're not in the car. Being like, someone could walk, people are probably leaning on this, taking pictures for Instagram. Some parking lot gremlin might open their, ridiculous, 2002 Honda Accord door right into my $2 million car.
I'm worried about an uninsured motorist crashing into me and then fleeing the scene or something.
They can't flee. You're quick.
Uninsured motorist concern is them not fleeing the scene, as ridiculous as that sounds. And that's one of the things that is always, as the cars have gone up in value and no one carries enough insurance for them, that's been something that kind of weighs on me a little bit, in that like $500,000 is about as much physical damage coverage as any insurance company will sell you. So if you crash into $1 million car or 4 $200,000 cars, you're so far beyond your coverage that the person who owns the car that was damaged has to file it as an uninsured claim. And so their insurance, there's nothing I can do to keep my insurance from suing the at-fault party even beyond their limits. And so the fact that it could bankrupt someone just because I am driving a car that went up in value so much stinks, right? And I wish there was actually an insurance product that I could buy, like subrogation insurance, where it would not pursue anything beyond someone's limits, because the likelihood of collection is low, but they're going to do it anyway out of the possibility that they could. And so that is a thing. But generally, when you drive them around, you just park it like a normal car. You don't you don't park diagonally across a bunch of places or just along a random curb, and everybody treats it like a normal car. And I come back and there's always, prints of where people have looked in the windows or sat on the thing or whatever, but it's all covered in clear bra, so it doesn't matter. They're not going to hurt it.
How much does the Rolodex of celebrities that have driven that specific car impact the pricing? And additionally, and this is a bit of a morbid question, if the celebrity is dead or alive, does that impact the pricing of that car more? And if maybe the celebrity has recently died, does that jack up the price even more? I'm just curious.
Was that Lindsey Graham's car?
It's very, very bad just after it happens, because no one is expecting that Birdman is up to date on the maintenance on his Bugatti. And so but long term, it is positive, because there are some incredible pictures of the car. It was in some great music videos and some stuff like that. And when you got a picture of Soulja Boy and Justin Bieber leaning on the front of this thing, it's cool, except when the scratches are still there. So once you get the car cleaned up, validate that it's okay by putting a bunch of miles on it, then it's positive. And so I have done very well in buying celebrity cars and then taking them from that bad to okay condition margin. I have found that's generally profitable. And, it's all about the packaging, right? Like I've always thought of this car as just being the Birdman Bugatti, because that was he owned it for the longest. But then as I dug into it, I was like, oh, well, Mayweather bought it right before the Conor McGregor fight. And then I don't even know who Little Uzi Vert is, but he wrapped it a bunch of different colors. And so then it just adds to these kind of breadcrumbs of the story. And that is perfectly on brand with what we do at VINwiki, because it's all about, empowering people to tell the story of cars. But also it just becomes a little bit more digestible rather than overwhelming in the anxiety of what would they possibly have done to this thing. And so the further you get away from it, the more positive it gets. Now, if they die, they got to be great. A Steve McQueen car is 10x its normal value, because he's such a beloved and legendary character. A Burt Reynolds Trans Am, you would think, is like the greatest thing in the world, but he figured that out. And so you could pay him like $10,000 or $15,000 to title your Trans Am in his name and then sell it back to you. So you could have a Burt Reynolds Trans Am, and there's like 200 of them that exist. And that's how he paid his bills the last few years. And so, certainly it can be positive.
So it sounds like at the end of the day, though, the integrity, like the face value of the car is more important, because you said you're fixing up some of the damage and scratches that these celebrities did. Because I would have thought if there was a Justin Bieber scratch, you might be like, yeah, Justin Bieber scratched this, so I don't want to fix this scratch. If anything, it increases, like you said, the story. There's something there to tell. But at the end of the day, you still want those surface level damages fixed.
There's certain things where you would want to retain the artifacts. So, for instance, I had Missy Elliott's Spiker, and she had retrofitted a big stereo in it, and it didn't work very well. And I'm not much to listen to music while I'm driving, but you needed to sort of leave it with the car because it's part of the attachment. I also had the Mercedes McLaren SLR that Paris Hilton owned, and had the very famous picture with her and Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan in the car. And it was like, where she flashed the world getting out of it. And you may or may not recall this fairly famous image. And it very much positively.
It's my wallpaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I have sunshade
in that car. The box
sunshade
wallpaper in the room, obviously, not on my PC.
And so that every time someone was interested in buying it, of course, their first question was, well, did you clean the seats? And it'd been a long time since Paris got it repossessed. But those things, they do have a different affinity. And, as to me, when you take a car to Cars and Coffee or an event, it could be any Diablo SV, or it could be the one that was sold to one of the richest guys on earth out of the Victoria's Secret Christmas catalog as a gift for his wife in 1998 and had a photo spread with Tyra Banks and Stephanie Seymour and all these things. And I just think that's more interesting. And usually they have lived a hard life and they're cheaper that way than just a perfectly maintained low mile car. So you end up with something that you kind of are invited to drive more, and you find somebody who appreciates the affinity down the road.
Is there like ever a little bit of frustration almost owning something that incredible? Because you've got like a Lamborghini and these expensive Mercedes. And I would, in my head, I'm putting myself in your position. I'd be like, what am I going to take out today? Well, it has to be the Veyron, I guess, because I can't step down to a Lamborghini, as silly as that is to say.
Well, all of them are terrible automobiles to get places in. And so when I drive something like a rental car that is new and has 200 miles on it, it's perfect. I'm like, man, this thing is nice. And it's not creaking and rattling and all that. And so it's not, you kind of have to have an attitude of like, I want to really feel this journey and experience the inconvenience to make it, to help me understand what it's like to drive a 30-year-old Lamborghini or a high-mile Bugatti that has every aero light on or whatever the case may be. So it does not detract from appreciating like actual good, new, well-kept cars.
Okay. There is, you mentioned rental cars. There is something freeing about driving like even a shitty rental car, because you just like you're just abusing it the whole time. You're just revving it. I remember, I think Jeremy Clarkson said that, where he was like, I have more fun driving these rental cars than I do a Lamborghini, because the Lamborghini I'm worried the whole time and trying to baby it and make sure that nothing goes wrong. If somebody throws me in a Nissan Versa that I don't own, it's just redlined all day. Like just abusing that thing, taking ridiculous turns.
And we do that sort of thing, on purpose, because, we need that kind of liberation. Tomorrow I got to get up at 5 a.m. and fly to Connecticut because Cletus McFarland, Garrett Mitchell, big YouTuber out of Bradenton, Florida, is hosting a YouTuber race in Crown Victorias. So he buys a bunch of cheap Crown Vics, probably $1,000 each, paints numbers on the side of them, and we just go race them on a little circle track up there. And so it's like me and Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Richard Childress and Matt Farah and a bunch of other car YouTubers, and it's going to be a blast.